Hi, welcome to the Midnight Neon Hair Salon and Style. I will be your assistant today. Yes, I do sound funny. Yes, I am a half elf cat girl with a man's voice. It's a complicated story, but long story short, I used to be a human man and I was cursed and got stuck halfway through the transformation. Yeah, something about the magic running out. So anyway, why don't we get you just seated down here real quick, and we'll go over some things. Okay. So what brings you in here for your haircut today? Oh, I see. You getting ready to go to college. Cool, cool. Okay. Well, let me look here. Um, Yeah, on my little interface device. So, what kind of hairstyle are we looking for today? We've got the princess cut. We've got the anime styles. We've got, well, I say anime styles because there's quite a few of those. They were made popular by, animation and stuff like that. Uh huh. Oh, you want a pixie cut? Okay, yeah, we can do that. That's actually pretty popular hairstyle among Fae folk. I mean, oh, you also want to get a hair dye? Yeah, okay, yeah, we can do that. In fact, we got one of the best potion masters here in our little store, and they make amazing hair dye colors. They do such an excellent job. The hair dye is like permanent. So, like, okay, my hair color here, my pink hair color, um, was actually one of his things that he had made. Uh, and the reason our hair dye specialist is a man is because there's so few out there who really specialize in this sort of thing because it takes a lot of potions and chemicals and potion ingredients and a little bit of alchemy. So you got to be pretty well educated before you can just go making any old potion, hair dye potion. But when I say it's permanent, I mean it literally permanently changes the root of your hair color. It like where traditional chemical hair coloring, your hair eventually fades or it as it grows, you got to touch up the roots, that sort of thing. Well, with this, you don't do it. It's a one-time deal, and your hair is that color permanently, unless, of course, you choose to dye it again. Yep, it can, like, if you go swimming and you're afraid your hair is going to turn green or something, you won't have that with these. Because it literally changes your natural hair color permanently to that color. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure, not a problem, not a problem. So, what color would you like? We have a little chart here. It is, we got blues and greens and purples and reds and oranges and oh, you want my hair color? Well, that's kind of flattering. Yeah, actually, Yep, right here in the system. Yep, there it is. My hair color right there. Yep, we can do that. Okay. Well, speaking of potions, the potions masters made me this amazing little detangler potion. And I'm just going to spray that in your hair. And the best part about this is it also acts as a skin moisturizer for your scalp. Yeah. Okay, here we go. How come I didn't have my prices listed? Well, that's not really in my control. It's controlled by the store manager. The owner used to have the prices listed, but the owner is more hands off these days. And store manager kind of wants to basically trick people into getting their hair cut first and then forcing them to pay extra. But as long as you don't tell the manager, I'm willing to cut you in on a haircut deal since you're going to college. Yeah. Well, the normal price is like 25 gold pieces, but I'll cut you in for like 10. Well, I know going to college can be rough. Education's not cheap, both here in your world and in my old human world. Alright, now we need to straighten your hair out. Besides the potion, it does detangle a lot of it, but it doesn't get everything. So, would you like a comb or a brush ran through your hair? I mean, with your long hair, it might be best to use a brush until we get it cut. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We'll brush your hair. Huh? Why am I humming? Well, we used to have a, typical musical system that most businesses like this have. And the owner was getting a little desperate, and our system was one of the best in town because not only would it play calming, relaxing music with, like waterfall sounds, it was also incredibly expensive, so he sold it. And now we don't have any, so sometimes I hum to just kind of help pass the time a little bit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, if the humming bothers you, um, you know, just let me know and I'll quit. Hmm? What are humans like? Since I used to be one, yeah, I would know quite a bit about them. I suppose you've heard the stories that they're like 10 to 12 foot tall monsters with stone skin, flaming hair, and metal teeth, right? Well, I can tell you that humans are nothing like that. They're more like elves, just shorter lived. Yeah, well, at 125, an elf is pretty much like a 21-year-old human. But by the time the 20-year-old human reaches 100 years, they're old, wrinkly, and barely alive. And elven people, are barely looking like they're in their 30s by the time that, a human reaches that point. Yeah. It's not a big deal. What kind of ears do humans have? Well, I guess you're looking at my elf ears and my cat ears. With my elf ears, I can hear, normal sounds as well as pick up on certain magical tones. And then my cat ears allow me to hear when, say, like somebody's nervous or their heart's racing. I can pick up on that with my cat ears. But human ears are kind of a short and stumpy look. They're rounded. Because I know, like, most elves and elven people prefer, the slender, long pointed. Yeah. Are human ears sensitive? Well, yeah, to sound, yeah, sure. Oh, you mean like to touch? Yeah, they can be. They can be. We're almost done. We'll start cutting soon. Okay. So, what are you going to college for? Oh, you're going to college for graphics design. That's pretty cool. What kind of graphics design? Well, there's like traditional hand-drawn graphics design, and then there's like computer graphics design, which is popular for use among like video games and movie work and that sort of stuff. You're doing both. Well, you must be very talented to be able to do both. No, I'm afraid I just have to be happy with this for now. Because I really want to get into like vtubing and streaming. What are VTubers? Well, it stands for virtual YouTuber. What's YouTube? Oh, I forgot. You guys don't have YouTube here. You got ElfTube. Yeah, yeah. Well, I have quite a few that I like to follow and watch. I've even been inspired by some of them. Which is what wants me to be. Which is what makes me want to become a VTuber. Like who? Well, I was inspired by like VTubers like well, some of the more basic ones like you know the more popular ones. Like there's like, and then there was, let's see, there was Filian, who was like a cat girl. There's Bao the Whale. There's one called Rosiebellmoo that I like. There was a Smug Alana. Let's see, there's quite a few. One of the ones that, she's wanting to become a VTuber. She even has a model and stuff. She's only ever used it once that I know of, but she's really working on it. Her name is Flawless Fae. Oh, man. She does some of the best ASMR work I've heard in, like, ever. What is ASMR? Oh, I believe it's called audio sensory meridian response. It's just fancy terms that I don't really quite understand, but I do understand the effects. Well, it's basically, it can cause different responses in people with different sounds. One of which is, the most common one is that people use sounds to, like, create relaxing effects or de-stress or even help someone to go to sleep. You would be surprised how effective it is. VTubers use a lot of, graphics art design. Well, I was just thinking that if you're really into the graphics art, you could maybe make VTuber models. Make like some free ones to begin with. And then like make basically like a small sample size. And then you could do like custom work where you're commissioned and earn some cash that way to help out paying for college, because I know how expensive college can be. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, yeah, I know my name's like on the building. But here in your lands, they don't exactly allow foreigners to own businesses. We're allowed to work at as many businesses as we want, we're just not allowed to own them. I'm not really worried because they would have to change the name of their building and their products in order to get rid of me. So it wouldn't be that easy. I mean, if I did something really horrible besides give somebody a discount, I mean, yeah, they would. Mm-hmm. Ah, it's not a big deal. There we go. There we go. No, just hold very still. I'm going to trim up around your ears. And then I'm going to trim across your face a bit to keep the hair out of your eyes, because if you're really going to be a graphics design artist, your hands and your eyes are your most valuable tools. Alright, here we go. Just okay. Now let's comb out your hair a bit, and then I'll dust you off. Yeah, we're almost done. Almost done. Alright. Now I'm going to take this little soft brush here, and we're going to dust off your ears and your neck and a bit of your face. So here we go. Yeah. Almost done. There we go. There she is. Yeah. Now, you wait here, and I'm going to go let our hair dye specialist know that you are due a pink hair dye, and to make sure it is one of the good potions, so that it doesn't ever run away or fade or dry, you know, all those other good things that can fade it. Yep, yep, is guaranteed to be permanent. There's no worries there. Well, how do I know? I've had this hair color for about 6 months now. That's how I know. Maybe 7. I kind of can't have a hard time keeping track. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, you wait here and relax a bit, and the hair dye specialist will be with you. And again, don't worry about the cost. 10 gold pieces. Hey, my neon lights, 'tis I, Midnight Neon. I just wanted to say that this is really a way of my. This video is a way of saying thank you to those who inspired me to try and become a VTuber, as well as inspired me to try different things. I have a whole list that's really too big to go over, so I'm just going to go over the probably most well-known names. I was I took inspiration from so many different VTubers and ASMR people. Um, I was inspired largely a lot by um, like you know uh, a popular VTuber known as Filian. Um, she does like full body 3D tracking for hers. But I was also inspired by VTubers like, say, Bao the Whale, Rosiebellmoo, you know, Fuamoko. That's Fuwawa and Mokoko Abyss Guard from the Hololive Ian. I was inspired by um, like Smug Alana. I was inspired by Chibidoki. There's just so many. I can't begin to list them all. But yes, I was inspired to try and become a VTuber by them. And, I'm going to say something that probably isn't very well received among other VTubers. Really, it's actually only certain ones, but I don't really care. When I first started VTubing, it was kind of hard, actually. Because there is no teaching course, there's no schooling, there's no education about VTubing. It's just what you can find online. And a lot of the VTubing videos that teach you how to do VTubing, they're not, I mean, they're really focused. A lot of them are focused on like the appearance and the graphics parts. But some of them overskip a lot of the important stuff. Like, in order to be a proper VTuber, you almost really need to have like an OBS. You need a proper editing program because if you can't afford an editor like me, you are your own editor. And I've been learning a lot about that process. You know, and then there's like different types of VTubing apps. Like as you can see, I use like a full-on 3D model. Um, but the most common type are 2D live models, which actually I originally wanted to do a 2D live model. But for some reason, my PC's kind of a bit outdated, both hardware and software wise. I mean, it was like a secondhand PC. It was given to me, so I wasn't gonna say no. Um, but I really, enjoy being a VTuber, and for some reason, the 2D Live, which was what I was going to go with, which is what most VTubers do, um, the VTube Studio is the app that most of them use. For some reason, I could not get it to work on my PC, which is a shame because it actually uses less resources than the app I currently use. But then the app I currently use seems to work better with my PC. So, hey, you take what you can get. And then, as you can see over here on my side there, I've got their watermark. And that's because I really like their app. I I like to support, hyper online VTuber avatar app. And it's actually a really great app for those who are starting out as VTubers. It's pretty simple, it's straightforward, and surprisingly, the models and the graphics are really nice. So I'm always going to, give them a big shout out and flaunt. And every so often they update it, and you get some really new stuff. Like when I started, the only face models you had were basic playing models. Now they got models with makeup and Halloween costume and makeup, and they got uh, I kind of stick to the anime model, but they do have more realistic models. I find that this one's actually a little more compatible with my style, so I stick with it. Um, as for why I use a female model, it's just choice, really. I mean, I could have used a guy model if I wanted because they have that option. I mean, I just chose to go with this. Um, and to be honest, you will find that most VTubers, when they choose their models, it's really just a matter of preference, what they like. And then they kind of add their style and flair onto it, which is what draws a lot of people in. Um, am I trying to be different? Well, yeah, kind of. But honestly, it's what I call like the Simpsons effect. The Simpsons have done everything, everyone else is just kind of copying them. So, um, you know, anyway, and, one of the people who really inspired me a lot is an ASMR artist called Flawless Fae. Um, I was going through some pretty dark stuff when I discovered her channel, and for some reason, I just found it really helpful, calming, relaxing, and comforting. So, in a way, this video is kind of like a big thank you to everybody who inspired me, to the VTubers, to the ASMR artist, to the to the people who provided the app so that I can do my VTubing. Because the truth is, I've always wanted to do something like YouTube, but I never wanted to show my face, and I never wanted to just record just the gameplay footage only. I wanted people to see my reaction to stuff, and then respond to those reactions. But I was always afraid of showing my real face, my real self. And when I saw VTubers for the first time, it's like, wow, that is really neat. That's actually amazing to me. And so I was like, teetering on the edge of actually putting the effort into doing it. I mean, I had to do a lot of research. There's the videos that are online about VTubing. They're really incomplete. There's so much they don't really cover, and you have to be like so super specific to get a specific answer on something you might need. But it might have been hard at first, but the more I did it, the easier it got, to the point that it's basically second nature to me now to just do all this and just enjoy myself while I'm doing it. So, if you guys out there watching this are thinking, I would like to try that, I would say, yeah, go ahead, but you do your research first. Make sure that that's what you really want to do, because there are different types of streaming. Yeah, I mean, I have my VTuber model, and VTubing is a thing. But there's like the IRL streamers, like say like Markiplier, um, a fella by Oxhorn, Shoe on Head. She's pretty good. And if you're going to stream or pre-record your videos or do both, do your research about it. Make sure what you want to do, which way you want to go here. And I'm also going to tell you, you're always going to have your naysayers and your trolls and your harassers. You can't help that. The people out there, often a lot of them are just jealous because you're doing something that they want to do, but they're too afraid to do it, so they lash out and attack you. So a lot of that you just have to ignore. And of course, I'm sure there are those who have to take things serious because there's always going to be someone who goes off the deep end and takes it too far. Um, if 2025 has taught me anything, there's been a lot of that lately. So I'm hoping 2026 this year is going to be a good year for everyone. But anyway, you know, if you want to do it, I mean, and here's the thing: if you don't want to do VTubing, if you don't want to be an IRL streamer, but you still want to post videos of gameplay footage, you can. That is an option. Um, and for that, you really only need a like a bare minimal of equipment. See, with if you're an IRL streamer or a VTuber, you gotta have like a webcam or a device that can be used as a webcam, like say like an iPhone, where you can run your model on it and then feed that into the computer, which then feeds it into the OBS, and it just listen to me. I'm trying to be a teacher all at once. And the other thing is you should get like a decent mic. I'm not saying like you. I mean, I would love to have like one of those $200-300 microphones with left and right audio channels, which would be great for ASMR. Um, but I am I'll be honest. Right now, I'm just making do with like a $30 microphone, which isn't bad. It's not bad. You do need to seriously invest in a semi-decent mic. If you try to go super cheap, you're going to find that there's going to be issues, and you can't help it. It is what it is. And you will need at least a semi-decent computer with a bit of a semi-powerful GPU. Like, it has to have like at least like a minimal of, I want to say 6 to 8 gigabytes, maybe more, of GPU RAM. And the difference between GPU RAM and regular RAM is that the GPU RAM is dedicated to graphics processing. So you do have to have a little bit of decent memory. But I find for me that this is well worth it. And I do this for the art more than I do it for anything else. Some people do it for the fame. Some people do it for the money. Some people just do it because they want something. Me, I do it because I see it as an art form, and I do it because I love the art behind it. And if I entertain someone along the way, then hey, I've done something, you know. Um, so you know, I just, no matter what anyone says or does, I love VTubing, and I'm gonna keep doing it. Um, I have so many opinions. I can't voice them all here, or this is going to turn into a, you know, an hour long stream or hour long video. So anyway, this is really just my way of saying, you know, a big thank you to those who inspired me. I could go on for hours just saying thank you for how much I was inspired to get out there and do something. Um, but you know, I'm doing it, and if you think you want to give it a try, I believe you should, but don't go insane with it. So many people make that mistake that they shoot, that to they try to make it about the money, and they try to make it about the fame and the glory, and once they do that, they lose their focus. They lose uh, themselves in the process. And if you're a real artist behind this stuff, if you really want to put effort into it, do it because it's what you love to do, and then the money and the fame and the glory will just follow you. It'll just come to you. Um, for me, nah, money can take a sidestep as far as I'm concerned. Fame and glory, I have no use for those things. Um, so if you want to try it, try it. And to those who inspired me to do these things, thank you so much for the inspiration. Um, and a big thank you to Hyper Online for making it easy for me to do that with their app. Again, I can't thank them enough. And I did pay for the Pro package. It is oh so worth it. Um, So, and I know a lot of YouTubers talk about how expensive their models are. Some of them can be pretty darn expensive, 15,000, 30,000. That's a lot of money. That's basically a new car for a hand drawn 2D model to use on the internet. So, but you don't have to pay that much. There are choices out there. I mean, I really weighed my options. I tried different types of apps, and I liked this one the best. And when I saw that the Pro package was only like, 30, $40, I said, yeah, let's do it. And, I got all this cool stuff to work with. So, hey. So, you know, if you're really interested, don't give up on it and stick with it. Um, and to you, my viewers and my neon lights, I also want to say thank you to you for gracing me with just your presence. I mean that alone, I mean, even if you don't leave comments, that alone means a lot to me. Um, so thank you, and yeah, and as I always say to you, my neon lights, remember to always shine brightly in the darkness. Goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you again soon.